Kubota M7132 first impressions. So we're starting to think about swapping that out, the 135, because it's got fantastic transmission, fantastic engine, but the cab is poor. You don't want to sit on it all day long or your head's pounding by the time you get off it. But in all fairness, it's an extremely good tractor for what it is, though, transmission and power wise. This is something that we've been offered to try, but the biggest problem is won't fit down the feed passage with a feeder wagon, and height wise it's too high probably, but we could alter that. So from behind, physically it's a lot bigger tractor. Our tractor on the right is supposed to be about 143 horsepower, and that's supposed to be 150. So you can see that's a neat package, a lightweight tractor with a good amount of power, more of an on-top tractor really. But that tractor on the left, the demo tractor, has obviously got 50k. It's on air and front suspension, so a lot higher spec. So one of the problems I've noticed is that as you're changing up through the ranges, it actually does a down change. It did it then, and then you have to click up to the next one. On the other tractor, it'll skip out the lower gear in the next range, so it's a constant acceleration. But on this one, you end up slowing down as it changes a range. The cab is actually very comfortable. The aircon works really well, the seat's comfortable, driving position's good, visibility is good. I like that. There's the noise level isn't constant. As the revs get higher, there's a very unusual fan type noise from behind the seat. Whether that's to do with the oil in the back end or what, I don't know, but it's quite strange. It sounds like you got a little drone taking off behind you. Whether that's going to be annoying over a long day, I don't know. It's just something you get used to. But the noise levels in the cab are actually very low and comfortable at revs up to about 1500. It's really good. And if I rev it more, I wonder whether you can pick up that noise. More of a whine. But still, in all fairness, almost over 2000 revs, the noise level is reasonable. So we've got a 2,500 gallon vacuum tank on the back. We're on some sloping ground, and the tractor feels really sure-footed. The other 135 that isn't big enough really to be safe on sloping ground, but this feels very secure. Rides the ground well, front suspension, nice air seat. So I've got to say it's a very comfortable tractor to drive. It's just that transmission change that bugs me at the moment, but I'm sure that can be programmed out of it. I realised the problem with that down change as I'm going through the ranges is the fact that I'm dropping the revs. If I keep the revs on, it doesn't do that down change. There you go, it's not being smooth, so all is forgiven for that one. I was wrong, my driving style was the problem. Keep the revs on and it'll do a lovely change through the gears, up through the ranges without any downshift, as it were, between the ranges. So I've got to say the transmission's actually very good. I love it. In the auto transmission option now on the settings, so it's just rev and go. I don't know whether you can pick up, but it's quite jerky. And one thing which is not to my liking is the amount of revs I need to have on to make it change. When I'm driving it and going through the gears, I probably don't have these many revs on. I find it a lot easier driving without having so many revs on, but I understand that when you're pulling a trailer or whatever, or weight, you're going to have a gear change at a higher rev, otherwise it just won't pull it. But it's just one of those things. It does save a bit of fatigue not having to change gear. Just let the tractor get on with it. I've driven the tractor now for about 2 or 3 hours, and now I've realised how to drive it. Keep your revs on when you're going through the gears. It doesn't do that downshift. I'm very impressed. It's comfortable, quiet cab. Transmission's really good now, sussed it out. So I would, on first impressions, I would buy it.